Hello and welcome to the show. This is the Sales for the Nigerian Business Person podcast. It's available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts. I used to call it Apple iTunes, but I'm told that it's no longer iTunes, so Apple Podcasts. And any podcast player of your choice, so subscribe for free once you're done listening to this episode, especially if you're one of those people who's listening to this on a web browser. It's more convenient if you just subscribe on the podcast. Also, once you're done listening to this episode, give me a 5-star review because so far nobody has given me a 4-star review. So let's not break the chain. However, if you listen to the podcast and you think it's only worth a 4-star review or a 3-star review, why don't you hit me up? My details will be at the bottom of the show, or rather at the end of the show, and let's have a conversation. Let's see what you disagree with or what you hope that I could have explained better. So, today on the show, is posting content the solution to your sales problems and your poor profits? Now, if you're looking to get clients online, then yes, it is important that you create content around the things you do or the things that you want people to know you for. So, for instance, I'm putting up this podcast because that is what I want to highlight. I used to be a wedding photographer. I'm not putting up photography stuff anymore. I mean, when photography jobs come, like we provided media coverage for the British Council last month. That's with they had some insight and engagement sessions with people in the Nigerian university sector. They were exploring transnational education. So that's the last one we provided media coverage for. And before that, there was the sensitization. Was it sensitization? Well, anyway, the session around people who want to gain access to the Commonwealth scholarships and the Chevening scholarships, the provisions that they have for people living with disabilities. So we also provided media coverage for that. So, apart from when I talk about those sorts of things on the podcast, because it's really, really exciting stuff, I mean, stuff that the British Council, in conjunction with Nigerian partners, Nigerian government, other civil society organizations, the sorts of things that they work on when it comes to business education, social development, poverty alleviation, people living with disability, what else? Those sorts of things. Interesting stuff. So I talk about it here, but you will not see me post about those stuff anywhere because that's not the kind of content that I want people to find about me online anymore. And you should be doing the same. So you're a lawyer, you should be finding ways to post lawyerly content, end quote. You might think, what kind of content can a lawyer put up? But there's something one of my young cousins has started. Okay, well, not young per se, because this dude is like 35 years old. 35. So, and there's something that he does. He just puts on the camera and then he gives a legal perspective on things that are happening in the environment over here, in Nigeria. So, last week there was the labor strike that didn't go through. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just puts on the camera and then he starts talking about protection for employees, labor rights, how they can be enforced, obligations of the government, that sort of thing. So we should be looking for creative ways to put content out there so that people know exactly what it is that we do. All the content out there shouldn't always be buy from me, buy from me, buy from me. So my young blood, Teso, that's his name. So if Teso keeps putting out stuff that says, I'm a lawyer, buy from me, I'm a lawyer, buy from me, I'm a lawyer, engage my services, that gets old pretty quick. But then today, let's say BBLs, that's Brazilian butt lifts. So let's say there's another Nigerian celebrity who is involved in some BBL controversy. Because these things always come up. You say, oh, this person put nyash, this person did this person did that. And so if he creates a video today saying that, if you want a Brazilian butt lift, and you have to travel to Turkey for that, that is medical tourism. So these are the legal things you need to pay attention to if you're trying to take advantage of medical tourism. Or this is the duty of care that your doctor owes to you when you're trying to get a Brazilian butt lift. Or let's see what else. Or if you go and do a Brazilian butt lift and then things go wrong, you came in there with 2 bum cheeks, and by the time you leave, you have 3 bum cheeks, or maybe 4.5 bum cheeks. How do you gain legal redress? So, if last week he made those sorts of videos, this week it's labor strike, and let's say next week, let's see what could happen next week. Okay, so let's say next week the president has a cold, he goes away for 2 weeks, and then they talk about whether he's fit to remain president or not, and then he makes a video on that. After a while, people in Teso's ecosystem will get the point that when it comes to all things law related, this is the young man who's got the hookup, and that's the sort of thing that we should be doing. Because it's important that people should be aware of who we are, first of all, and what we do, before the relationship has a chance to begin and to blossom. So it's the same thing. You guys hear me, you guys hear Teso, my cousin, you find other people that you're interested in, and that's how things begin. So a case in point, like I mentioned, is my podcast episodes, which I use to leverage paid coaching engagements and also to show my credibility, because I'm actually looking for paid coaching and paid speaking engagements. So the podcast is actually doing its job, even though I don't have millions of followers. So when people hit me up like, how come you don't have millions of followers? I tell them, that, look, this is not about millions of followers. If millions of people listen, that's cool. But the goal is I'm trying to get paid speaking engagements, paid coaching engagements. Also to show my credibility. Because I like the fact that nowadays I sit down at the table to talk to people and they don't doubt that I know my onions. They know what it is that I do, because this is over 710 episodes, for 3 years. And I always talk about case studies. So clearly, I know what I'm doing. If I didn't know what I'm doing, I wouldn't be making noise for this long. And even if I did and I was a quack doing it for this long, surely folks would have started calling me up by now that, hey, this young man, he just talks nice, but he's a scam. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so another case in point. Apart from my cousin Teso and apart from me, this one is real practical. There's the lady that my wife buys Christmas pajamas from for the kids, because that time of year has come again. We are in October. Soon it's going to be November, and then after that it's going to be December. So the pajama lady, I don't know her Instagram handle. If she doesn't post about pajamas regularly, if she's not posting about pajamas regularly, then there's less possibilities for these sorts of business organizations to occur. So it's because she's always posting about pajamas that my wife sees the pajamas, and my wife can slide into the DM to say, oh, I like this Father Christmas one, I like this Rudolph one, I like this one, how much? I've got 2 boys and the ages are this and that. So it's important, whether you're a lawyer, a consultant, wedding photographer, or if you sell pajamas or makeup online. It's really important. Now, the crux of the question, does posting content mean you'll automatically make more sales? Is it a given that the more you post, the more money you're going to make? Okay, well, maybe. Because if you post consistently over time, then there are more opportunities for people to know you. So, excuse me, I have a cold. That's why I'm sounding funny and heaving. So, what was that? Okay, so if you post consistently over time, yes, then there are more opportunities for people to know you, to like you, and to trust you, and that could lead to more inquiries. That's if you do it consistently. And you're going to get DMs like, are you available for XYZ date? Back when I was in my wedding photography days. Or how much do you charge for XYZ? And that's one thing that I'm sure we all have in common. People say, oh, my landlord is trying to chase me out. How much do you charge to handle the court case? I like that Santa Claus pajamas. How much does it cost? So that's one that we all get. How much do you charge for XYZ? So if you post a bunch, if you post a lot, then you actually need to be learning about how to sell. Because, okay, let me put it this way. If you're posting a lot, should you bother learning how to sell? Because the rationale for some people is that if you're posting a lot and people are hitting you up in the DMs, then there's no need for you to sell, because posting millions of posts or hundreds of posts equals to tens of DMs, which equals to X number of businesses and a certain profit margin. So that's the way some people look at it. Post a lot, get lots of inquiries, lots of business, lots of money. There's no need for me to sell at all. So, So is that correct, that if we post a lot, there's no need for us to learn how to sell? Well, actually, selling skills are important because posting is only one part of the equation. Let me repeat that. Selling skills are important because posting is only one part of the equation. Posting is that part of the equation that guarantees eyeballs. Posting is what gives you attention. So if you're really good and consistent at posting lots and lots and lots, then you're going to get tons of eyeballs and maybe lots of DMs. So, like I'm good at creating content, over 710 episodes, over 3 years. So, posting consistently on a weekly basis means I'm getting a few thousand eyeballs. I'm not in the hundreds of thousands range yet. So, I'm getting a few eyeballs, and I'm receiving a few DMs on LinkedIn once in a while, on WhatsApp or Instagram. Now, lots of attention and lots of DMs does not necessarily equal lots of profits in your pocket. Because if you have poor selling or poor conversion skills, then you're going to be wasting a lot of time in generating content and running social media, advertising campaigns, boosting posts, sharing, repurposing, all those things. So, selling and conversation is the second part of the equation that actually make things pop. So, yes, we need thousands or tens of thousands of people to see our posts. But if we don't know how to convert, then we're not going to make a lot of money. So, what is conversion? What is converting? Now, conversion, well, it's mostly tech people that use that term. So, I'm sure you guys are familiar with it. So, conversion, it's a catch all term for all those skills that you need to get the person to take the next step. Because eyeballs is one thing, but until the eyeballs take the next step and give you an email, send you a DM, submit their phone number, send you a text message, whatever it is the next step is in closing the deal, until that thing happens, you're not going to make any money. So, conversion, that is the main thing. So, you put out lots of posts, people see, and they say, "Are you available for XYZ date?" Or they ask, "How much do you charge for XYZ?" That doesn't mean you're going to have a paid customer at the end of the day. Are you available for XYZ date? Does not mean you have a paid customer. How much do you charge? Doesn't mean that you're going to have a paid customer, because we face this on a weekly and on a daily basis where people say, "How much do you charge?" You answer, and then they go ghost, and no business happens. So you're going to need a special set of skills to go from "Are you available? How much do you charge?" to people asking for your account number. So you have to learn. So the magic formula, just in case you guys haven't gotten it, is posting content. Yes, that's important because we need the eyeballs. So it's posting content plus conversion skills. That is what will make sure that you optimize all the time and the money that that you're using to make content, to share content, to promote content, to boost content, advertise content, all the things that you do content related. So it's posting plus conversion. Posting will give you hundreds, tens, thousands of eyeballs. Excuse me. Then conversion skills is what makes those eyeballs turn from eyeballs into customers. So, for instance, let's say we have a catfish trader. And yes, we do have catfish traders. Well, I don't eat fish, so if you're like if you're like me and you don't eat fish, then you won't know that this world exists. But this world actually exists on Instagram and on TikTok. You have people who are fish traders. There's some people that are general fish merchants. My wife follows a few of those people. So whenever my wife needs a shrimp hookup, by the way, it's really interesting dynamics. When you have a relationship, a marriage, and one person is a fish lover, the other person is not a fish lover. It's really, really interesting dynamics that you guys should explore. Makes for a fun marriage. Anyway, I've insisted that the children learn how to eat fish because I don't want them growing up to be like me, because fish actually is important. Okay, anyway, where was I? So catfish traders. Now let's say you have a catfish trader on Instagram or on TikTok. No, let's say Instagram, and the person posts daily. Today, the person posts pictures about their fish pens. This is my fish pen in Ogbomoso. This is my fish pen in Lugbe. I have just put 500 heads of fish. Or this is my fish pen in New York, and I've just put 600 guppies or whatever. So they post that today. And then tomorrow, they post fish soup recipes. This is what you can make with catfish head. This is what you can make with catfish fin. This is what you can make with catfish tail. And this is how you can take catfish spine and skull and grind it up to use as a spice. Then the next day, they now put more fish recipes. Then maybe after that, they put fish care tips. This is how you take care of your catfish. This is how you clean your catfish. This is how you get rid of mucus from your catfish. This is how you feed your catfish if you want to get catfish. You want to come into the business. Then after that, they might put up more content about these are the different kinds of catfish species. This catfish comes from the Amazon. It is rich in this. It is good for this. This catfish comes from the Niger Delta. It's good for this. It's good for that. This kind of catfish comes from the Gwari people in Abuja, around Nasarawa, and it's good for this. It's good for that. Then maybe another day they can put up the right recipes, the right species to use for soup, because maybe some catfish might not be good for soup. So today it might be this kind of catfish is good for soup. Then tomorrow it might be catfish recipes for medicine. Eat this catfish, prepare it like this. You won't have malaria fever. Your skin will appear clear. And then maybe there might be a video out there that says this is how you use catfish to boost sex drive. So if you cook catfish, you cook it this way, you put this ingredient, you give it to your husband, he's going to fall in love with you and he's going to want to hump you for 2 weeks straight. So these are, oh, by the way, in case you haven't figured out, I've just been freestyling, making stuff up, because since I don't like fish, I don't follow those contents. But I'm just spitballing here so you guys can see that there are different ideas that we can come up with when it comes to putting up content. There's lots of things you can post about, even if you do something as boring as selling catfish. So you've seen that with catfish, we've come up with a number of ideas. So if you're a catfish trader, these are the kind of content ideas that you can be posting on a daily basis or maybe on a weekly basis. But I didn't count, but I think maybe we came up with about 7 or 8 ideas. So clearly you can see that we can come up with a lot of content. So let's say because you've been putting up all this content, somebody sends you a DM. That's a direct message on Instagram. That's the reason why I said let's go with Instagram, because on TikTok, for now, there's no direct messaging feature. Well, at least while I was on TikTok, I don't pay attention to my account anymore. But while I was there wasn't a direct messaging feature. So somebody DMs you, they send you a direct message, and the message is, "Hey, Mr. Catfish or Madam Catfish Trader, please, do you have Benue Agric catfish?" And then you respond, "Yes, I have that catfish." Sorry, one moment. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's that time of the year. Children have brought home the cold, and I'm a magnet for bacteria, so I'm the one who ends up dealing with all these issues by the time everybody's well. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so the person DMs, "Do you have Benue Agric catfish?" For those of you who are fish lovers, I'm just making stuff up. I don't know if there's any special Benue fish or Agric variant of catfish. You respond, "Yes," and then the person goes silent for 3 days. You don't hear about them. You don't hear from them from the DM. Then, at the end of 3 days, because you're concerned, you now send another message. You say, "Good afternoon, ma. I'm just checking up." That's one thing that people do. "Good afternoon, ma. I'm just checking up," or "I'm just checking in." Some other people think, okay, this guy hasn't said anything for 3 days. This lady hasn't said anything for 3 days. Let me just send them a message because we have this market discount going. So you send the person a message. Buy now to receive 30% off on Benue fish, Nasarawa fish, and New York fish, or whatever. And then, so discounts, promos, things like that, because you are trying to get them chatting again. Because you know that if they say, "Please, do you have Benue Agri catfish?" and you say yes, and then they go quiet, then you're not going to make any money. So you're trying to get them engaged. So now maybe the person remembers that, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's true. 3 days ago, I reached out to the person." So they now send you another message asking, "How much?" And then you respond, "It's 15,000 naira for 5 kg. I'm just making that up. I don't know if that's how much catfish costs. So 15,000 naira for 5 kilograms. And then they go silent for another 3 days. And then you're wondering, now for these people, they reached out. I told them I have the fish. They went quiet for 3 days. They asked how much. I've told them. They've now ghosted me for another 3-4 days. And then you repeat the whole process. You send another message. "Good afternoon, ma. Good afternoon, sir. I'm just checking in. Market discount, 15% off, blah, 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 blah." Because you're trying to get them to be engaged in the conversation again. Now, this is the place, or rather, this is the part of the conversation where a lot of people will say, "Oh, thank you very much. Thanks for the information. Let me think about it." And then, of course, you don't know what to do with that. You're frustrated, thinking this whole thing of Instagram and putting content is a waste of time. I'm just putting content on all these platforms. I'm talking about how you can use catfish to revive your sex drive, how catfish will give you good skin, how this is how to cook catfish, how catfish is going to stop you from having malaria, or is going to cure your bad breath or your body odor. I'm doing all this content every day, and this thing is not working. Instagram is a waste of time. Content is a waste of time. All these influencers who go around talking about Instagram and content, it's rubbish. None of this works. Now, the thing is, the game actually does work. The problem is you don't have the conversion skills locked down. You don't know how to move somebody from "do you have this and this available" to them becoming a paid customer, or from how much to getting people to become a paid customer. So the problem is with you. The problem is not with Instagram, and the problem is not with content. You don't have conversion skills locked down. Now, how do conversion skills apply to this scenario? Since we've already done 20 minutes now, I'm going to move to that tomorrow because I don't want this to be another 45 minute episode. But the bottom line is this: you need to learn how to sell. Because if you learn how to sell, you're going to have really good conversion skills when people send you direct messages from the content that you post on Instagram. And you don't have to be in this scenario where somebody DMs you on day one saying, "Do you have Benway catfish?" And then you say yes. And then 1 week later, you don't know whether this person is serious, whether this person is not serious, whether you have a deal, whether you don't have a deal. So learn how to sell, increase your conversion skills, so that when people hit you up from the DMs, hit you up from the content that you're putting up over on social media, you're able to convert these eyeballs into paying customers or clients. So that's all for today, folks. Tomorrow we'll be fleshing out the scenario so you can see how conversion skills apply. So if you love what you've been hearing on the podcast and you're tired of not knowing what to do when people send you these sorts of DMs, then hit me up on 080 6466 2140. Hit me up for sales training, and hit me up for coaching so that we can develop action points and also help you beef up your conversation skills to help you convert more DMs to paying clients. When I say hit me up, I mean call, SMS, WhatsApp, Telegram. Also, connect with me on LinkedIn or your social media of choice. My name is Tavishima Ayede. You can confirm my name, that's the spelling of my name and the email address, on the website where you're currently listening to this episode or in the profile of the podcast app where you're listening to my voice. So thank you very much for your time and attention. And we'll continue tomorrow using this exact scenario to see how conversion skills apply and how we can flesh things out. So thanks for your time and attention. I'll catch you guys at the next recording. Tomorrow Sunday, busy day for me. Not sure if I can put up an episode, but if I do, this is where I'll be taking off from. So catch you guys on the next episode.